I've been live for 41 seconds. Totally forgot about that. How you doing? Chris, DeFi Professor. Here with our free community training every week that we do. We've been doing this actually since January of 2022 here for Beat the Banks. I'm Professor Chris, co-founder of Beacon DeFi, holder of such Beat the Banks IP. And what do we do on this show? Well, what we do on this show is specifically we try to help anyone who is curious about Web3, about if you hold crypto, how you can utilize that crypto to do way better for yourself from an investment standpoint than you ever could at your bank. And that's kind of the premise. That's why it's called Beat the Banks, right? But the idea is really just here to get people who are curious about decentralized finance into decentralized finance. And we want to make sure that, we're spreading the right information, that you understand, from someone who's been in the space for a long time. I've been in crypto since 2011 and DeFi since 2019. This has been my full-time career since 2021. I've helped more than tens of thousands of people get into this space safely and securely. My job here is to make sure you are well educated on what your options are, on how you can start to become your own bank as you are here in DeFi, and do things to help solidify that. So let us start with what today's topic is. It is called portfolio cleanup. And why are we talking about portfolio cleanup? Well, we had a recent, if you check out our free group, which is at, it's called Total Value Locked. It's at school.com/beacon. Let me get the banner here going on the bottom. I guess I should share my screen. That would be good. Anyway, this is our free group from Beacon DeFi. Great community. And essentially, we're here to help educate. If you know anybody who knows very little about what decentralized finance is, if you're a long-time user of crypto and you have never heard of decentralized finance, this is the time to get started. Why? Because we're in a situation where, frankly, if you have crypto and you haven't been looking for ways to make profit with your crypto other than just buying and holding, then you need to get into decentralized finance, because we're seeing way too many good opportunities pass a lot of people by. And people may be wondering, what does that even mean? Well, the ability to do yield farming, which is, in my opinion, way more productive than trading. And granted, I also trade, but at the same time, I farm my profits. Why? Because I want my money working for me at all times. If I'm trading, I'm just waiting for market conditions to end up in a specific way so that I can possibly profit off of my decision. You could also do this here in decentralized finance. There are multiple ways you can earn huge yields and earn really good risk-adjusted return on your money. Yes, you can work with a stockbroker. You can work with a financial advisor. They might be able, on the best day, get you something close to 20%, depending on what's going on, right? But in general, you have to pay for that financial advisor, and you don't have access to that money right away. I mean, you do, you just have to get an account and that type of stuff. But if you had your own access to the funds, if you self-custodied your money and you had the ability to move that money in and out of any protocol you want and have direct access to it, why wouldn't you, right? Right now, the craze, or if you listen to our Wednesday podcast, which is called Total Value Locked, every Wednesday at 1 p.m., we're talking a lot about digital asset treasury companies, or these special publicly owned companies that are having large raises from multiple investors and other private equity groups to then take those funds and buy a crypto or digital asset with it. And that is their treasury. It seems a little scary, the idea of that, right? But That's how much faith and how much conviction these companies have in these assets. We looked at a website on Monday called cryptotreasuries.app. And it's just called a Bitcoin treasury tracker, but it actually is good for multiple assets. And this is the part that you need to kind of pay attention to, because it's not just, and this takes forever to load, I apologize. It's not just Bitcoin. It's Ethereum, BNB, Litecoin, XRP, Tau, Hype from Hyperliquid. I think there's even there's one for Bonk. I don't know what they're called now, but they were called Sure Shot Industries. But in essence, one thing we reported to our mastermind membership, as of a couple of weeks ago, there's more than 48 of these companies. They're not all listed here, by the way, but 48 DATCOs, or digital asset treasury companies, have been created in the last 3 months. It says 35 here. There's been more than 48, and it's from they're from groups all around the world. I mean, El Salvador was probably the biggest news for Bitcoin for a very long time because they allowed it to be a second form of tender. They still do to a degree. They've kind of walked it back a little bit, but in places like Switzerland, there are multiple cities where you can pay for your municipal taxes in Bitcoin and other digital assets. States like Colorado here in the United States, you can pay for your tax liabilities with crypto, with Bitcoin, with ETH, and I think they just use Coinbase Commerce, but regardless. These are all companies, and Sol, I forgot to mention Sol. Ultimately, you are actually buying into the exposure, right? Because you're buying shares for a company to go and own as much of that asset as possible. For example, with Bitmine Immersion from Tom Lee, their goal is to own 5% of the global ETH supply. That's the goal. My cat completely agrees. In essence, you're paying for a stock that you hope will go up. Do these reach triple digits? I have no idea, to be honest. I don't have a crystal ball. Mercado Libre, wow, 21.48 for share price. That's crazy. 284 for MicroStrategy. Look at this huge market caps for people that are just buying Bitcoin. Like groups like Mercado Libre. Where's Metaplanet? I don't see Metaplanet on here. There they are. 3 billion. I mean, essentially their goal is to just acquire as much Bitcoin as humanly possible because they believe in that asset that much that they're willing to do that. Is this something that you should do? Like invest in these companies? I mean, you can. Here, I'll put this link here. Cryptotreasuries.app. There you go. For me personally, I mean, it's good to have the exposure to possibly be someone who diversifies the portfolio in that way. But honestly, why not just go and buy Bitcoin? That's just the way I look at it. I'm like, yeah, you can probably invest in these companies and they're profiting off of, you're a shareholder technically. So you do profit from some of that. Maybe you get some goodies if they happen to be a different type of company. Like, for example, where are they? Hyperion DeFi. That's what they're called now. I forgot the name before, but the old name, they sell ophthalmology equipment and for things like optical doctors. So do you get like free eye exams for life as a Hyperion? Well, I don't know. I don't think so. But same thing with like Sonnet Biotherapeutics. They have Hype as their digital asset treasury, which is great. I love Hype. I love Hype and Hyperliquid. I could see that as possibly being the, frankly, The only benefit for doing that, why don't you just go into DeFi and just buy hype? That to me, that's the smarter play overall, because then you actually have it in your custody, in your wallet, instead of just having stock exposure to it. Now, that's no different than going into DeFi and having perp exposure to it either. But if you have the opportunity to hold the asset spot, why wouldn't you? Right? So that leads into today's topic, which is getting your house in order. This is a fun topic. The idea of having to have a good portfolio that works well for you is one that a lot of people probably wish that they could do, right? Cleaning up your portfolio for a lot of people is a bit of a trivial thing. I was talking to somebody today that he just, back 3 years ago, he just went and every month took $2,000 and bought 10 coins. And back in 2022, I didn't think that was a bad idea at all, because coins were we're at the beginning of we're in the middle of the bear market, and we're in a situation where there's a lot of coins that are on discount. So why not do that? Well, when you're trying to identify ways to have better performing assets and then essentially using them to then go into DeFi and farm them to try and earn yield, keep that portfolio working for you, it can be difficult if you have 65 to 70 coins to choose from and you're trying to figure out, well, I know I hold BTC, ETH, SOL, and XRP, and with about however much it is, they make up probably 60% of my portfolio. But the other 40%, what can I do to clean that up to make my portfolio a better looking portfolio? Essentially, to get my house in order, because there's going to be a lot of coins that have come out that are never coming back. Simple as that. Or this is their peak. They're not going to go any higher from where they are, meaning that they're probably going to be range bound in this area for a very long period. Whether there's people who are married to their bags about it, they're super long homers on some of these coins. You want to be in a situation where you have assets that are actively performing for you, right? Now, I understand the idea of having high conviction in a project and just holding that asset for a 3 to 5 year or longer time horizon. That makes perfect sense. But if you don't feel that way about everything in your portfolio, this might be the time to really consider paring back on some of that. Now, we recently did a webinar here for Beacon where we talked about portfolio cleanup and stuff like that. Something we talked about specifically, we call it as an homage to the organization queen herself, Marie Kondo. She's called it the Kondo method. So what does that mean? Let's see how well I can get this to look. Okay. Hopefully you can read that. So the idea is that you're going to take all of the assets that you have in your portfolio and you're going to score them. And really the questions you should be asking yourself, the first row is the easiest one, in my opinion, to gauge your interest in that project based off of that, right? Let me pull up a couple of coins in particular that I can talk about. And all I'm doing, pardon me, is just going into CoinGecko, looking at the top 60, just looking for something in particular that might fit the bill here. Let's go with let's go with Athena, ENA. For those of you who are unaware of Athena, Athena is a, it's probably better if I just pull up the chart first. So keeping this chart in mind, right? So what we're going to ask ourselves is the drawdown conviction test, the time horizon, how productive is that asset right now in my portfolio? Would I buy that asset today? And then based on my overall investment thesis, assuming you have one, if you don't, then that's fine. This might be the time to go and figure out what that investment thesis is. Checking it against this and then scoring it to see how you feel about that asset. And let's talk about Athena. If I can find Athena. It's here somewhere. ENA, right? EN. There we go. Nope, that's not it. There we go. Why is it number 48? Anyway, let's get that back on top here. To 47 cents, right? For those who are unaware, Athena is the ticker for USDE, which is the third largest stablecoin by market cap. It's been an interesting ride for Athena. They started out as a project from Arthur Hayes and Maelstrom and Dragonfly Capital. The idea is that they were going to create a stablecoin that was rebasing and yield bearing, which is something that has been tried multiple ways through multiple mechanisms, and sometimes it's worked and sometimes it hasn't. But they found a really smart way to make it work. Originally, when you first held USDE, you would earn, basically they took the funds and you got a yield based on the fact they took those funds and they put them into an Ethereum validator. And then that was one side. And then they took the other and they bet on ETH futures. Fun little mechanism to try and generate yield, arbitrage opportunities, things to get yield back to, you know, the overall holders. In the beginning, it was like 26% on mainnet to hold to get USD, which was at that time unheard of. Athena is not a very old project, guys. I think they started at the beginning of 24. I want to say. Yeah. Yeah, beginning of 24. Now, it was a really cool idea, but they're starting to lose a little bit of steam. So then they decided to do two things. First, they decided to expand the futures play from just ETH futures now to BTC futures. And I think that's made a ton of difference. And I'm not using this to be a total Athena homer, because transparency, I hold ENO, which is their token. I think it's a fantastic play. Average APY for staked USDE, by the way, is 19%. Yeah. And they found ways to grow the supply. And now it's everywhere, right? It passed DAI, or the now it's called USDS from MakerDAO, as the third largest stablecoin in all of crypto, in decentralized finance, of course. To the point where there's now, 10 billion worth of supply, and they were able to use the success of that to bring in an RWA backed stablecoin called USDTB. So they've had a meteoric rise. They've had a fantastic nearly 2 years in this space. And so that's ENA would be their ecosystem. But one thing I definitely want to show you guys that I think is great is that they have a transparency section on their website. And the transparency section is great because they show proof of reserves and they show you all of the ways that it's being used. And this is the key. This is the key on why projects like Athena and good projects that are decentralized matter in this space, because of stuff like this. This is the type of stuff that you want to see out of projects. You want to see that they show you exactly what the attestations are, proof of reserves. This is all stuff that's required by the Genius Act. They've been doing this since day one practically. So, good to see. Anyway, let's talk about the token. I believe it's their governance token, which is called ENA. See if I can find more on that here at the website. Well, anyway. And you can buy ENA token variety of places. Obviously, you can get it at Athena. You can also get it on major dexes. CEXs also have it. It looks like the supply is 15 billion. Circulating is about half of that. So there you go. Now, when we're looking specifically at the when we look specifically at the the condo chart, you have to ask yourself, specific questions about how you feel about it. Now let's apply that specifically about Athena here. So drawdown conviction test. Would you hold this through a 50 to 90% drawdown? I have enough conviction in this project. I would definitely score myself 2. I wouldn't aggressively buy more, depending on where we're at with the market. But yeah, I would definitely hold maybe out. I think ENA is a great beta play specifically for ETH because of the fact that USDTB is a thing, and the fact that they have hedged assets with both Bitcoin and ETH to help with the yield for holding SUSDE. So time horizon, yeah, definitely a 1 to 3 year position for me for ENA. I don't know if I'll hold it 5+ years, but definitely at least a 1 to 3 year thing. So that gives me 4 points here. Productive asset status, it doesn't generate 21 to 99% currently. Maybe the 1 pointer here. So we're at 5. Would I buy today? Would I buy Athena? Yes, I would buy at current price or higher. I think it's definitely a great DCA target, especially right now once we do eventually get to altcoin season. I think ENA is going to be a top performer. And then investment thesis check. Yeah, it's playing out better than expected. So that's 10, 15. So this is definitely a core holding. So that's one way to consider using this rubric if this is something that you would be very interested in. And I challenge all of you to go into your portfolios and check that out with this scoring guide, because essentially you want to be in a position where you have assets that will perform for you. You want to be able to have a portfolio that's going to work for you, and you want to be in a position where things are going to be doing well. Especially like if you have ENA, there are multiple things. I mean, there's a couple things you can do with it. You can certainly put it into a liquidity pool if you want to hold ENA and then take a small amount and then put that in a liquidity pool, like a concentrate liquidity pool against ETH on a very wide position. So you earn a little bit, even if it's like 2 to 5% APY. That's amazing, because by holding it, you're not earning anything, right? So the ability to do that, or if you want to go onto a perp dex with some USDC and then farm a perp that way, that's another option. Or you can go to somewhere like GMX that has an actual market for liquidity provision against that. Let me see if I can find that. That is an option. Let me take that away. Because anytime you can actually keep your assets working for you in any manner, that's always a good thing. Let me find ENA here. All right, so just searching for ENA, it's at 874 for the fee APY with ETH USDC as collateral. So you would either you would deposit either ETH, or you would deposit USDC or wrapped ETH, and then you would receive a GM token, and the value of that token is going to go up or down based on the amount of trades being done on GMX for that. So you're just holding a token, like right now it's $1.22. The goal is to hope that it continues to rise, so the token itself appreciates, but then which you can then just cash out or take profits on at some point. And that's the whole point of the GMX liquidity system. So there are things you can do with your ENA token. Do they have? Can you also? No, that's for. Oh yeah, you can restake ENA to earn. It's a governance token, so you can, there are things you can do with it. So yeah, I have a big belief in what they're trying to do, SDE, and I think this is definitely a good thing to have in our ecosystem. Mainly because we don't want to be in a situation where the stablecoin market is dominated by one company, right? This is why there's so many stablecoins out there looking to eat into the market share of Tether, USDT, right? That's the big dog here in the industry when it comes to stablecoins. I mean, we just go by market cap, and USDT is the third most valuable at 183 billion in market cap. USDC is only at 76. So actually, that's a lot better than what it used to be. It used to be way smaller. So USDC has made a lot of good strides to really come into just sniffing distance, and 10 billion for Athena. So little by little, Tether's dominance in this industry is shrinking, which is what we want. Competition is good. Nothing wrong with USDT. They also have done a really great job with providing proof of reserves, attestations, that type of thing. Mainly because 4 years ago, a lot of the backing of Tether came into was under a microscope, right? People were worried that it was tied up in distressed Chinese commercial assets and just bad paper, stuff like that. That's not the case anymore. In fact, they've made so much profit. I mean, they own more UST bills, like debt, US debt. They own more of it than like half the world, at least 3/4 of the world. I think they're like in the top 20 now with regards to how much T-bills they own compared to other sovereign nations. They also post billions of dollars in profit. So they've been able to parlay that into owning gold. XAUT is their version of gold. That's their coin that's backed by gold with exposure to gold. And they have other things that they're working on as well. So they're putting money into AI. They're putting money into all kinds of things. So hats off to Paulo Arduino and the group at Tether. They're doing fantastic work. We want to see better competition to make it so it's just that Tether is not the only game in town, that USDC is not the only game in town, that Athena, USDE is not the only game in town, right? We want to make sure that there's good, deep stablecoin liquidity across multiple fronts so that regardless of who you are as an investor in this space, you have stablecoin options available, good fixed assets with deep liquidity to use as a backbone for your investment thesis. So for me, that's definitely a hold. Let's look at a different asset. Oh, sure. Should we pick on ADA? I say that with love in my heart. I would love for ADA to become the stable once was. Don't come at me, guys. I would love for that to be the case. But let's look at this from the lens of, our rubric here. Is this something that we would use or we would actually hold real conviction in? ADA as a token, right? First off, would I hold ADA through a 50 to 90% drop down? No, I would not. To be frank, I don't own any ADA. They've made some interesting choices at ADA. I'm a technical founder. I'm an IT veteran. I'm a university professor, specifically in software development. And I don't know why on earth input output felt the need to choose Haskell as the smart contract language for Cardano. Now, are they walking that back and starting to allow other things? Yeah. But in a world with regards to yield farming and regards to earning money on your stuff, where uh, Cardano is a very dormant system, frankly, not a ton of volume, and we hold volume as a premium here in this spot. Yeah, I just thanks for the comment, Damo. Yeah, I am a university professor, by the way. I do hold a teaching credential. I do. I'm on pause right now because I've been building Beacon, but I am adjunct faculty at a fantastic online university that helps adult learners. I'm very proud to be alumni and on adjunct faculty there. So yeah, I'm all about helping people learn, and yeah, I dislike a lot of the technical choices that Charles Hoskinson and group has made with regards on how to create smart contracts that, frankly, I don't know a ton of Haskell programmers. I know some, but why would, I mean, to be fair, I thought that way about Solidity as well, because Solidity is just one of those languages. I'm just like, okay, I think Rust is better, to be honest. It's more performant. It's got more hooks into it. And maybe that's a good thing, and maybe that's a bad thing. I'm a fan of WASM, WebAssembly, and all the stuff that they're doing there. I'm a fan of Arbitrum for having multi-VM, so you could do Solidity and any other language that they support. So that's a good thing. But we're not talking about all that. We're talking about Cardano. Would I hold it through a 50 to 90% drawdown? No. I jokingly call it the worst stablecoin that I've seen this cycle. Time horizon. I'm not going to poo people on it, because you hold what you hold, but yeah, I would not hold it. Productive asset. Can't tell you the last time I saw a good yield farm in the Cardano ecosystem. If you can stake your Cardano for like 9 to 10%, that's great for you. I don't think that's good enough. That's just me personally. They also don't really have any stablecoin farming to help bolster all that. There's some NFTs, there's some meme coins, but nothing to make you excited, right? You're better off going to Tron than Cardano at this point. Shout out to Tron, by the way. Buy today. Would I buy Cardano today? No, I would not. So as you can see, we're already less than. It doesn't matter what the last choice is. We have no conviction in that. And these are the questions you should be asking yourself about every asset in your portfolio. Why? Because it's going to matter when the market turns either up or down and you're holding dust on nothing. Now, to be fair, you may be holding tokens that you can't do anything with anymore. That's the nature of the beast. It is what it is. That's fine. Just burn it, convert it to dust or something. Some CEXs allow that. Some protocols have that. Like Solana has the Sol Incinerator. That's a great project there. If we had one on the EVM side, please, anyone who's building that, build an incinerator of some sort. That would be fantastic. I know that's not the easiest thing to do because of issues. I will say, if you're in DeFi and you're looking at your portfolio, do be careful about what you look at on your portfolio, mainly because oftentimes you can be airdrop tokens and not realize it. Now, some of those airdrops, hell yeah, great, thank you so much. Some of those airdrops, I didn't ask for this, I'm not touching it because I have no idea where it came from. So you want to be careful when you're making those, when you've got that stuff. Oh, there's plenty of blockchains that have real decentralization. I mean, but when we're talking about yield, we're talking about earning money and putting your money to work. It's got some way to go. Tron's got, well, anyway. Yes, the Cardano guys are here. I love this. I love this. Please buy some of my streamer coin. And I'll do the research. I'll come back smarter about Cardano. I don't dislike what they've done there. I mean, of course, I want DeFi to win in all avenues, whether it's Cardano, whether it's Near, whether it's Algorand, whether it's Multiverse X. or Stacks or Sonium. I want them all to win. So anything I can do to help educate the general public about that, put me on it, guys. Put me on it. Happy to do the research, happy to go through and pull the good out of it. I'll try. Okay. So that's the whole point of just cleaning up your portfolio, because you have the opportunity to find better money to go and, farm on Tron, farm on Cardano. To get the money working for you in any way possible. That's the key, right? Because I get the cypherpunk cultural thing. A lot of the things we see today, Satoshi would be rolling over in his grave. We stray further and further from Satoshi's vision every day that another Web 2 brand comes down and plants the flag into decentralized finance, stating that they're doing so and so for the good of humanity. Unless you're Tucker Carlson, you believe the CIA created Bitcoin and that's why you're not buying it. I'll say that. They didn't build Cardano. There we go. Okay. So really, the whole point is you want to make sure you have a portfolio that's working for you. I know that for a lot of people, they're doing trenching. They're not doing a ton of things with regards to DeFi because someone talked to me about this just the other day. They think yields are too complex. Guys, they're not very complex at all. It's very simple. You're taking your liquidity, you're leasing it to a protocol. You have self-custody, meaning your keys, your crypto, your assets, your responsibility. You have the ability to put them wherever you like, and you'll be earning. And in most cases, you're putting into a smart contract of some kind. You're receiving incentivized yield for doing so. That's the beauty of yield farming. Regardless of how you do it, that's the fundamentals to remember. You'd like to do it in a place that is not centralized. You want it in a decentralized environment. That way you get to control 90% of it, right? Because you still have counterparty risk when it comes to weird. I do wonder if StreamYard's having issues with Amazon. I use StreamYard just to stream this stuff, as you guys know, when I do it, in this format. I also stream in a different format where I don't use it. And it's weird to me that I have 2 gig internet and I find myself with the icon saying your internet connection may be unstable. Happens whether I'm plugged in or not with Ethernet, just so you know. Anyway, I'm getting fiber soon anyway, so that'll be a thing of the past once that happens. Hopefully. Regardless, I digress. Get your portfolios in order, mainly because the market's looking a little bit, well, I don't think the word is funky, but there's enough things happening where people are talking about I personally don't think so. But when we're in a situation where the bull market support band is not looking fantastic, or we may possibly close south of it, depending on which indicator you like. I'm not a TA guy, just so you know. Ultimately, the chart looks pretty good. And everything is playing out to where it's at. I mean, ultimately, you just want to make sure that we're in a situation where you need to be somewhat defensive in the event that the market turns, right? I get it. We want altcoin season so badly. There are so many things. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, Bitcoin was at 72K, right? It was at 68K. It was right before the election results happened, and we were just hoping we would get to 78K because that meant a ton of Bitcoin miners would finally be in profit for their rigs and blah 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 blah. Well, we're past that. We've blown through that. The all-time high is now at 126,080. 18 days ago, actually. Are we in a position where we're going to come back and hit some more all-time highs? I'm hopeful that we will, right? We've got a Fed meeting next Wednesday. Yeah, the 29th, where it's expected that they're going to be putting in a 25 bip rate cut. The question is that fairly priced in? Now, are we going to get another 25 bips? At the beginning of the year, I said I wouldn't be shocked, and I've been on record for this all year, that in November we get a 50 basis point rate cut. We're going to get 50 basis points, I think, maybe more, but I think 50 is the top. So go to your favorite Kalshi or Poly market prediction market to figure it out, whether it's shout out to all the others, Melee, Myriad, Predictfully, some of these others. It's an interesting inflection point right now, right? Because we're looking at a very interesting part of the market from a fundamental standpoint where it could look a little interesting, but at the same time, there is tremendous innovation that is on tap for us. We've got perp dexes being supremely hot. We have prediction markets starting to come front and center. Kalshi just launched into Solana with Jupiter. We've got the CEOs of various large publicly traded companies in crypto this week on Capitol Hill talking to the legislative branch directly to help push these market structure bills in. With all the pro-crypto sentiment that's out there, SEC chair literally calling DeFi part of the fabric of the American identity with self-custody and the true values of DeFi. And frankly, and this shouldn't be a factor, but unfortunately it is, the president has a lot of skin in the game. Does he not? The fact that he pardoned both the BitMEX co-founders and the Binance CEO and chairman in his first year in office. Yeah, he's got skin in the game, guys. It's hard to bet against all that, but the market's the market, right? We'll kind of see how well things kind of play out. Regardless, your portfolio should be reflective of that. One thing we talk about in our group is the idea of having an all-weather portfolio. And I believe I just started at the beginning, but again, school.com/beacon, absolutely free to join. Ticker, thank you. We have quite a bit of free content here, but if you want to get personal mentorship from me, if you want to take the Beacon Challenge, if you want to learn more about possibly even get a portfolio review, follow the links. Let's book a call in. We're here to help. And we've helped tens of thousands of people since 2021. That's all I really got for you guys today here on Beat the Banks. Really, the whole point of today was to just give you a minute to just kind of stop and look at your portfolio and think, could I be doing more to make sure that it's in the best order? Or if you look at your portfolio and you realize it's just a bunch of meme coins, should you be in a position where you're actually putting yourself in a spot to get profit? Should you be farming those profits? If you went in and you made a big bag off of like Ping or Useless or Troll or Trump or Peanut, and you're just holding those profits, don't you think you should be putting that to work even just 20% of it into opportunities like stable coins are earning anywhere between 10 to 350% on various blockchains. Don't just hold that stuff, guys. Also, just have best practices. One thing too, just being a DeFi group that we are, don't treat a CEX like a bank account. Don't treat your BAT account like a bank account either. Please, as you gain funds, as you gain profit, as you gain LP, take your profits and put them into a separate account, which you can then use to farm and continue to keep that money growing for you. Be smart about this, guys. You have to be. Otherwise, you're going to round trip and feel bad. And believe me, I've been there many times. It's a really crappy feeling that I don't want to keep doing. You got to keep going on. But you can't be in this space as long as I have. This has been my full-time career since 2021. You can't be in the space as long as I have, or as long as many of you have, without doing the right things to stay here. So if you don't have a portfolio and allocation system set up, come and talk to me, please. Happy to help. Join one of our communities. We're happy to help. Great communities where we talk about things all the time. Because you deserve to have, well, first off, you're going to be taxed. So as you pay your taxes with capital gains, even for tax loss harvesting, just make sure you have a process, have a system, have a good portfolio that's always working for you. That's why DeFi is here and DeFi exists. Guys, the guys are on Capitol Hill. They're not there just to make Coinbase look good. They're there for the whole of the fact that DeFi and crypto and digital assets are the future of fintech. They're the future of how we're going to do business. And you should be here looking for ways to find the best opportunities possible. If you didn't realize they're there, guys, they're there. Feel free. Happy to show you. Go back through anything I've done over the last 10 Fridays on my Twitter, on my YouTube. You'll see them. They're there. We were looking at DeFi savings accounts, what we call a DeFi savings account. It's 15%. It's not 15% today, by the way, but I think it's like 9.5%. But still, what are you getting at your bank? What are you getting at your credit union? You're not getting that. You want a money market? You need $25K in a bank account. You might get 1.25%. You get better than that? Good on you. You can get 10%? Probably not. There's better ways for you to make money out there, guys. And you don't have to put all your money in there, just a little bit. You want to diversify what you got, right? You don't want to be, as we call, tits long in crypto. You don't want to be that. But you do want to use crypto as a really great way to get a risk-adjusted return for some part of your portfolio. So if you're on the fence, get off the fence. We're here to help you. Looking at my retake chat. Thanks, guys, for being so nice and so engaging. Yeah, why? If you're farming profits, why hold them in Trump tokens? Good old Trump token. Broke the internet for everybody. Broke DeFi for everyone else. Actually, I can't say that. You got to blame the first lady. Everything was fine until January 19th, and Melania Coin made it. I have words for you, Hayden. Everything was good. Everything was good. And it all went downhill. Anyway, we're healing. We're recovered. Congrats to anybody who got a Meteor airdrop. My goodness, man, what you guys are eating. If you're in that Met USDC pool on Meteora, farming your Met tokens, bless you guys, man. You guys are eating good. We're all eating good. We do this show every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. And this is something we've done since January 2022, our Beat the Banks series, where we talk about just different ways to get into DeFi and crypto, right? So yeah, if you know anybody who's interested, who wants to learn more, please send them our way. Happy to help them out. And thank you again for joining us today. Keep joining, keep interacting, keep engaging. Got some things in the fire. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Be careful when you take leverage, and support your favorite creator wherever you can. Us creators need all the help we can get. We're out here putting out content for you guys. 07, beacons up, banks down. Take care, everybody. Keep beating those banks.